parents today, gentlemen, university members, welcome and first of all, I'm indeed grateful and thankful for USCA for giving us the opportunity to speak. A lot of you, those of you who know me, might be thinking that what are these IT services, IT person doing on an accounting venue or a function for accountants. We work very closely with ACCA. As most of you know, we are an IT services company. We do a lot of SAP or ERP sort of work. We do a lot of mobile app development. About 2 years ago, we started our first slow interaction with ACCA. We started recruiting a number of accountants in our company. And as we grew, we saw, when we did our evaluation and all, we saw a distinct difference in talent. We could shape those young kids in a manner that we wanted, to the point that our head of sales right now is in ACCA. And we were able to groom them very quickly. And hence started our long-drawn relationship with ACCA. We are now one of the largest trainers of ACCA. We have trained over the last year over 1,000 accountants in various schools around the PMC. From where I come up, we are in like 4 countries providing our IT services. What we see and what we aspire young people over there to consider is consulting as a profession. A lot of young accountants that come into our company, we realize that they just think that accounts is a very focused, boring job. You go in, you make balance sheets, you make P&Ls, you make cash flow statements, you make your statutory accounts, and do your taxation, you do your IFRS, so on and so forth. But the role over the years has changed. No longer are people looking for accountants who just create these financial statements. You are looking for accountants who can actually give financial advisory services. You're looking at people who can understand digital technologies. You're looking at people who can tell me the financial supply chain of my company. Hence, the role of ACCA accountants today is not just that of back-end accountants sitting and doing taxation and audit. That is the strategic part of your organization. With that note, I congratulate all the new members and I wish you all the very best up there. And we're all here to guide you, support you, mentor you. And again, I'm indeed grateful to ACCA to give us this opportunity to come and partner with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We all gather today to be a part of this inaugural ACCA leadership conversation. We are confident that today's panel discussions, with their thought-provoking and insightful ideas, will make for a rewarding experience. Roshani Zafar will be delivering a keynote address on CFO and C-suite leadership fit for the 21st century. Roshani Zafar is the Managing Director of Fashion Foundation. She has a wide range of development sector experience. She started her career at the World Bank and has earned many awards and contributions to the field of social entrepreneurship and women's development. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome, Roshani Zafar.
Good morning, Assalamu alaikum. Let me begin by saying I am not an accountant. But that does not debar me from today's event, I hope. That being said, I think it's very important for us to talk about leadership and the need for having a mindful leadership today. Unfortunately, we have the likes of Mr. Trump. I can be as descriptive as I want to be about him as a leader, but I will sort of contain myself. We have him at one level as a role model for today's world, or as a representative of leadership in today's world. And then if we go to the micro, this morning, unfortunately, I was reading a very tragic news about DJ Khan, where a 6-year-old has been given over as one. So we have, the huge macro issues we face in leadership, and then we have micro issues at the local community level leadership as well. We do not want to lead a regressive world for our children. That should be our commitment today when we talk about leadership. So, hence, it is very important for us to talk about value-driven leadership. So, I'm going to share with you some of my experiences of 20 years of leading from the front when it comes to women's economic empowerment in Pakistan. So, let me begin. We have the presentation. So let me begin by sharing with you when I began 20 years ago, people said, it's simply a crazy idea. You can't do this in Pakistan. How can you work with women? Women don't work in Pakistan. How can you fund them? How can you help them set up businesses? And simply, how can you replicate the Grameen Bank approach in Pakistan? Because it's very endemic to Bangladesh. Well, the good news is I never listen to them. That's a good thing. What should be as a leader? You have to believe in what you, and in a purpose. You have to be purposeful. You have to really think about what matters to you. And when we started the Fast journey 20 years ago, we began with a belief. We began with an intent, we began with a purpose, and we began with a vision. And I'll come to you what the purpose of the institution was, because the purpose really drives the values of a leader. I also want to mention to you what I believe a purposeful, mindful leader needs to do today. It's about leading in service of others. Let's think about that for a moment. It's about leading in service for others. That's really what we need. We need leadership that has humility at the center of it. We need leadership that transposes its own needs and actually uses the platform of helping others. It's about being conscious. It's about being aware that your action will have a reaction. It's about putting yourself in the shoes of others. It's about having compassion as the force field that moves you. It's about looking at the moment. It's about enjoying how you as a leader can transform the lives of others. It's about leading in accordance with personal values. Let's take stock of that. We all have personal values. And those personal values really need to ignite the power of our leadership. It's about also leaving behind the clutter. A lot of times when we are leading, when we are in that position, we have a lot of noise that is thrown at us. It's about prioritizing what matters. And that really has to come from one's values. So if we look at what Trust is all about and what the purpose of my institution is, it is really about making women matter to the economy, about realizing that investing in women is smart economics. And even today, we have a lot of challenges when it comes to women's participation. We can see that in the room today. The participation of women here is very low. So we will talk a little bit about that. One of the first challenges we had was that majority of women are not going to perform in the financial sector. So how do we pull them in? How do we lift and rise? A good leader always tries to lift and also to rise above that. It's important that you don't do it alone. It's important to bring others with you. It's also about looking at the challenge of access to opportunities. When you look at women in the economy, when you look at women in society, they lack the opportunities because many of them have not been educated. It's also about looking for equal pay for equal work. If you look at Pakistan today, 70% of what women earn is 70% of what men earn. It's also about opportunities for well-being, for health. It's also about the labor participation rate of women. If you look at it today, even today, Pakistan has one of the lowest labor participation rates in the region. So 70% of the women today enter the labor force. Now that's a very, very, that's an indicator we really, really need to think about. And women work longer hours than men and don't get remuneration. So the purpose behind the driving force behind what we have done over the past 20 years is to make sure that women matter, that women are recognized for their economic participation or the remuneration that they bring to the economy. So if we move further and look at a 4 or 5 standard, a lot of women in our society actually deem that or opt out of the workforce. So the values that we really need to bring to leadership in Pakistan is feminine values. And there's nothing wrong about that. I think there's always been a debate that if you're a woman, if you're a leader, you have to imbibe a lot of masculine values. So I'm going to tell you a story when I talk about leadership and what I learned from women in the field. Because I really think having a heart in leadership is important today. We really need to counter that. So here is the story of Rehma Bhaji. Rehma Bhaji is a phenomenal entrepreneur. She makes shoes. Now that's a business that's very male-dominated. You won't see that many women in this business. But she taught me many lessons about leadership. The first thing she taught me, you must remain committed. Even in the worst of times, even in the most difficult scenarios, commitment for mindful leadership is important. And you must have courage. You must have the ability to take risks. You must have the ability to build a space for yourself and for those that you work for. And then a leader, a mindful leader, also needs to communicate their values in all ways. They have to live their values, they have to breathe their values, they have to be their values. And collaboration is very important. That's something else I learned. Because her work takes her across the network. She has to procure the raw materials, she has to go and negotiate with vendors, she has to convince her family to work with her, and she has to face up all the social challenges that women face when they go out and become entrepreneurs. So communication is very important, along with collaboration. And then change management. Things are not always the same. In her life, it's an everyday business. In her business, in her world of micro-entrepreneurship, it's an everyday business. So change management is something we have to be very aware of and we are mindful of the environment that we work in. And of course, most importantly, creativity. Because as already some of the speakers mentioned, today the world is extremely volatile. We don't really know there are lots of balls in the air as far as leadership goes. So change management for us, along with creativity, become very important values for us when we take on the world, and we have to be mindful, and we have to be proactive as leaders. So keeping that in mind, I just wrap up with just sharing with you that 20 years ago, when we began with a lot of question marks, and people said, what's your purpose? Why do you want to do this? This is such a crazy idea. Women don't work in this economy. What have they achieved in the past 20 years? And these are just numbers, but behind these numbers are the real stories like Rehma Bhaji, who go every morning, they get up every morning, they run this business, and they face the challenges, and they transform the lives of their families. So very quickly, my last slide is to talk to you about the numbers. So we started this journey with only 5 clients, and today we have 2.6 million businesses across Pakistan. We created 625,000 additional jobs. We have also forayed into businesses that are not targeting the bottom of the workforce. For example, insurance. So we covered about 500,000 lives through life insurance and 1.2 million lives through health insurance. And we trained over 1 million female entrepreneurs in business management and financial management. What we call the Harvard Business School for women in Pakistan. So we treat them in basic budgeting, business accounting, so they can improve the end product in terms of the return on their business. So thank you very much today for your time, and I wish you a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roshani. I would now like to invite Mr. Sadiq Hassan to come on stage and present a small token of appreciation to Roshani. Thank you, Roshani. It was great having you with us this morning. I would now like to invite our conversation leaders to join us on stage. I would request Mr. Arif Mirza, who is also our moderator for today and is currently currently leading policy agenda for ACCA across the Middle East, North Africa, and South Africa regions. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a hand to Mr. Arif Masood Mirza. We also have with us here this morning Farah Hassan, who is a regional director and is an integral part of the top leadership of Abacus Consulting. Helen Brand, who is the chief executive of ACCA, the global body of professional accountants, a post she has held since 2008. Jazay Khan, who is the CEO of ExxonMobil Pakistan Limited. He's had the credit of establishing ExxonMobil Pakistan as an independent public listed company in 2012. Mr. Al is responsible for finance and business control at Tetra Pak. He's accountable for providing strategic support to business in Pakistan and Afghanistan region. Rizwan Tirana, who is the CEO of Team Telecom. Mr. Tirana has had over 20 years of experience serving in leading companies in South Asia and the Middle East, including Edison, Ericsson, and Motorola. There will be a 15-minute Q&A on the session. Our staff present in the hall will collect all the questions, so please raise your hands. Online attendants can type their questions in the question box. Mr. Arif Masood Mirza will be moderating the current discussion, and over to you, Arif.
Thank you, Assalamu alaikum. A very good morning to all my friends, fellow members, representatives from ACC's employer community, and other very close contacts of ACCA this morning. So we had an opportunity to listen to Rashida, the MD of Pleasure, talk about her sort of techniques, if you like, in leading Pleasure, and she was thinking about a value-adding approach to leadership. So the report that we're concentrating on is called the CFOs and the C-suite leadership for the 21st century. The report talks about three headwinds that leaders and finance communities are facing. And you may agree with those headwinds. You may living here in Pakistan have your own sort of challenges and headwinds faced. Now they are the headwinds that we remind the panel and everybody in the audience is worth mentioning them. So the three headwinds that the report classified, one is macroeconomic. So I think Rashani touched upon this, that we live in a very globalized world. There's a lot of complexity, a lot of uncertainty. The acronym being used in the report is called the VUCA world. So it is a term used originally by the American military, and it stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So it's a punchy sort of acronym to describe the volatility of the world we live in. So that's one of the headwinds that we're facing. The other headwind is, it's not surprising, it's the speed at which we as individuals and business models are facing the rapidly changing technological advances. So as the digital age is hitting us, and it has been so years, how are leaders responding to that challenging headwind that we're facing? And the last one, which may be for those of us living in Pakistan, seems somewhat of a long-term, a very long-term agenda, is the headwind which is really around climate change, which is demanding organizations really behave in a manner that they are responsible corporate citizens. So that's another headwind. So my first question to the panel is, whether you in your roles, especially the majority of you working in Pakistan, leading in Pakistan, you agree with that definition
facing, or whether you see other headwinds assisting you as well. But first, let me start off with Helen. You travel across the world. You're based in London, and it's a multi-cultural city. You interact with a lot of overseas staff and a lot of overseas stakeholders. Do you agree with that overall definition of the digital world that is?
Yes, and I think I do. Certainly in the aspects of complexity and ambiguity, I don't think there's any question that you can always now provide the answer to every issue that either a business or an individual that we face. On the final challenge around climate change, I think that's a broader issue in terms of societal challenge to businesses. So it is about showing that value that you're creating broadly in the interest of societies, communities, and the economies where you work. And I think that is an increasing pressure on leadership and increasing pressure on business. And the environment is one element of that, but it's not the only element. And I think social change, political change, all those elements are impacting more directly on businesses than they ever were before. If you don't have the leadership story that relates to that environment, it's very difficult to drive sustainable success for your organisation.
Hi. So, Mr. Johnson, the VUCA world we're going to describe and living in Pakistan and complexities that we're faced with here, do you agree that leaders are faced with these global challenges, or would you like to add other more national headwinds that you're faced with?
I think of the launch, of course, they brought out that the macroeconomic are there. What I would add to your comments is that perhaps these changes are not new, but the degree of volatility has increased over the last decade or 2 years. Pace of change, of course, is something that is very different from what it was even when I started my career. But going forward, I can see that something like this will happen. It will continue to grow exponentially. So one has to be more on the ball and more able to deal with things that are being seen or problems or issues that are being seen for the first time ever in your organization or your own experience. So those are the two things that I would like to add.
Nisba?
Markets. These guys to describe how we get affected in the marketplace, and so to worry how you affect the world ecosystem. So you can argue that you usually are facing there's a slowdown, but you get eventually trying to say
And Fatma, in terms of the future world that I described, quite contextualize it for our local audience. Do you agree that even leaders in Pakistan are facing these headwinds, or are they different challenges?
I would say that Pakistan is very familiar with it because every day was a new challenge to our business leaders, even the people of Pakistan, even the history of our country. There has been extreme volatility, whether it is within the perspective of social transformation perspective. Another challenge is that we continue to face as a nation, and we continue to be very I think this particular term, in my opinion, is not something which is new to our country, and we rise above that without harm. But I agree with my panelists in saying that it is the speed with which the changes are coming in, which we have to sometimes be slow and the determination and the foresight to deal with. And I think that's what the main challenge is. Some of the elements that were covered in the survey that you shared with us talk about the skills that are required. So I think the major shift is predominantly driven by technology. Over the last 20 to 30 years, the advent of technology and how it has impacted how we live our lives, whether it's at an individual level or whether it is at a business level, the way we take decisions on our feet as soon as information is thrown at us, to sift through that information to make sense of it and make good business decisions is one of the challenges. And with that, the behaviors and competencies that are required also have shifted to be more critically analyzing certain aspects and then taking bigger decisions. So in that particular aspect, while we continue to deal with the challenges of the world, we need to also recognize how a big significant component of the factor is the technology that is impacting it. It is not only about leveraging that technology and ensuring that our people within our organization have the ability but also are we managing the technology strategically to enable sustainability of good
So there's one, you're on the IT world, the tech world, so there's a lot of competitiveness in that world. You agree also with the Luca definition and in terms of how you view that within our in the context of world that you operate in, you agree that the new world is certainly one standard that you always.
I think very well said realization and appreciation of the level that is on board there of the potential impact and the impact that it has on our business. The chair is not being passed out. I was going to report with the SCA and global examples. It made me think that how many those are relevant. Two examples. All of those examples are relevant. Their scale and their impact on our businesses have local impacts. I do agree that skills which are required from a leader at principal level have changed. We still expect the leaders to have be ethical and great practice. They are non shadows. They need to set examples. In my personal opinion, one skill which is mandated in today's day and age to deal with the volatility and accessibility and complexity of business is that a greater degree of agility. We have the reaction time that is devoted to us, processing information, to react to a situation has been shortened. That is related to how interconnected our businesses are. And these principles are very much applicable in the economic sector in which we operate. They face the same challenges. Hence the articulation that we get from panelists like Anna, the way we report is that.
One of the areas I want to pick up, especially in terms of the solutions recommended by the report to respond, for leaders to respond to the future world, was what they call the collaboration enterprise.
Yeah.
So, collaboration between the members of maybe C-suite or management board or the leadership team, the executive team. So, and how well they work together, maybe a distinguishing factor. But then they also talk about collaboration beyond the executive team or management board as well. So I just want to pick up on that interview because I think we hear a lot of the expression networking. The leaders are great at networking internally, and they're also great at networking externally. So let's pick up on that. Let's tease out a few points on networking and collaboration. So, in your organization, how do you adopt a style of, if you like, networking, and how do you achieve? What is that? Can you share with the audience? What is networking internally, and how does one benefit?
You mentioned collaboration and networking is on several planes external outside the organization, and that can be the people connected to you, for example, vendor or suppliers, or you can be trusted.
For instance, this is the key and request the people right at the back of the marquee. If I could request the ACC staff to go to the back of the marquee, because there's a lot of background noise and it's disturbing the panelists. So if I could just ask for right at the back of the marquee, thank you so much. Thank you. First,
I think that works. So there is collaboration externally, and that's very useful and a very important part of any leadership team's responsibilities. Since you asked me specifically about internal collaboration, I can talk about that in a little more detail. Internal collaboration is very important. The way I see it, every executive member or C-suite member of a company has two very distinct responsibilities. One, and one can get the percentages of the proportions, but I think roughly a third of everybody's responsibility is in running or forwarding the enterprise towards objectives. And the two-thirds input comes as a specialist, whether they're an accountant or a operations person or a supply chain specialist or a sales person. So on the one-third part of your responsibility it is pure collaboration. So you're not an expert. Yet you are expected to be able to comment on a sales strategy or a marketing strategy or an operation strategy. And that can only come effectively through networking. If people in the C-suite want, within months and years, a couple of years at most, if they sit with their colleagues on sales or marketing or supply chain, they will start understanding the language, they will start understanding the philosophy, they will start understanding how that particular function works. And they will genuinely give good contributions as to how to take that forward. And they can be a good sounding board for the specialists in that part of the organization. So I can't imagine an organization in this day and age who work well without collaboration.
This technical hack, the organization, your members of your own teams in 5 different countries. How do you define, what is the networking or collaboration internally, and how do you personally achieve it? What benefits does it have for yourself?
I think it's a very critical point. Also, because we're always talking about external networking, sales, marketing, right? And our focus is outside the organization, and we keep on underestimating the value of internal networks. Like I tell you, for a company, a global company, like international companies, you have subject matter experts spread all over the world, and you also have your senior and top management. It is an opportunity that comes in, which you know will benefit your customer and this overall proposal. If you lag in the networks, it's not going to happen. even if it happens, the pace of it is going to be so slow that you might even miss the opportunity by the time you have convinced enough people to get that strategic discipline in. So, it's not just a buzzword, I think it's part of your job to maintain and establish networks, even internally, not just external across the life. But if you don't have the networks, if you don't know where the knowledge is sitting, or if you don't know the people who are going to make the decisions, or the challenges they face, or the way they are looking at things, you are not going to be very successful locally as well. So, in the marketplace, because you don't have any leverage built within the organization by yourself.
How can you be more successful?
Collaboration and internal support is very close to the first point of sense of purpose as well. And it works hand in hand and hand in hand. And having an integrated approach is not just about ensuring that all the building blocks within your organization are working seamlessly in order to achieve the objective of your organization, but it also talks about at the C level, are leaders talking horizontally, communicating effectively towards that shared vision to drive the organization rather than their departments or their functions or their divisions. And that's an extremely important element because too often when an organization grows very rapidly, you have the silo effect that comes in. And when you have silos working within the organization, that particular division may be working very efficiently, achieving their targets, etc. But it is not really adding value at the level it should at the organization level. So within, if I give an example, one of the things that we've indicated as examples from our own organization, Active consulting has grown phenomenally over the last at least 12 years, but in its 30-year history, it's gone through fundamental transformation since it opened its doors. Right now, our challenge is to grow rapidly in an international market. So we have presence across 3 continents right now, but our challenge is that these 12 businesses and the business areas and what we call practice area leaders work with each other to ensure that awareness grows on a sustainable basis. So fundamentally, you have the CEOs who are running their own set of businesses in terms of the dynamics, whether it's technology, whether it's supply chain, whether it's HR, or finance. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're looking at a collaborative model at the C level where we're saying, this is the objective and the vision of Abacus. Are we doing enough to ensure sustainability, high growth, good performance through our people? So that is communicated both horizontally and vertically to work to all their organizations. And these key leaders will define the future, the next 30 years of Abacus as well. So that transformative model has to be honed into that sense of purpose, plus a collaboration which takes place through our people, who are our greatest assets, right? And then we have collaboration with the external vendors, and of course, our clients, who are our greatest assets.
I was going to touch upon the external networking as well. Basically, I've been there for 20 years. In the last decade, it's really pushed that collaborative organization and really provides sharing creation
I think just to start with that, I think the tradition of people that speak about networking seems to individual benefits, and that's probably the mindset around networking now. It's a much deeper and broader and corporate activity that we have to see it that way and talk about it that way. In terms of collaboration, I think it's really essential that collaboration is embedded in an organisation if you want to innovate. So, having an open mind, bringing people together who have the emotional intelligence and the awareness to collaborate effectively, to have new ideas, to respond to that world around us, and deliver new products, new ways of working, new processes. That doesn't always come from the executive team or from board. That has to come from every level of the organisation. And within ACCA, what I've talked about very frequently is leadership at all levels. But you have to create an environment in which that leadership can flourish. So it doesn't matter, I run with an ACCA Chief Executive Awards every year where we're looking for people who have shown that innovation, collaboration with others, and does something different. And that very often comes from the frontline customer team. That can come from the finance department, it can come from marketing, it can come from anywhere in the organisation at any level, and demonstrates to people that they can make a huge difference to the way they work with others and the way in which they collaborate. I believe it's the only way that organisations can do ACCA can succeed, because then you're extracting the best from everybody, valuing individuals from doing things differently, from challenging the status quo, and focusing on those overall goals of the organisation.
Martha, your views on the collaborative model of leadership, but also, can you also touch upon how are you using collaboration in your sense, externally from? That, I think we talk about internal, we talk about your own internal experiences of ensuring and sharing and that culture, but also externally as well. How do leaders drive that? Okay,
Collaboration with small business is easier. As some of the members said, that when you achieve certain scale, it is that where it's that time where you need a collaborative process. Align the thought process of the organization, get it better to deliver the services of achieve the goal of the itself. And it is that where, at that point where it is at that scale where the leadership is required to register the importance of the collaboration within the organization and the market, for example, the market in which we operate here in Pakistan, we are part of the service industry. We collaborate with our competition at times for delivery of services to our customers because it is simply not possible for us to scale at which we are and the companies which are at our scale to do it ourselves. We have to collaborate. Collaboration traditionally has been looked into the collaborating with the partners that have work, either with suppliers, or vendors, or work customers in terms of how we engage with them. But today there is a need to engage the competition because the businesses at the end of the day are there to deliver certain shareholder value. That has to come from good financial business. In the volatile, uncertain, complex environment in which we operate, there is significant pressure on the cost leader, and we have to come up with models in which we can even work with competition to optimize the solutions that we get to market. So we have reached out to our competition and we have collaborated with them, and they appreciate the need to do so. And we are very successful in specific areas.
thank you.
And we talked about innovation. I mean, I think we also need to be mindful of the fact that right now competition can come from anywhere. So it's no longer that okay, these are our competitors and this is the sector that we belong to. The advent of technology has blurred those lines between competing sectors and organizations. I mean, 15 years ago, who was not that simple iPod device would actually completely destroy the music industry, for example. And you have technology coming up with a device and a totally unrelated, and there's so many other examples, Uber, etc. So that entire collaboration is also looking at how is the competition, who are we actually competing with, and how is it affecting our bottom line at the end of the day and cost control.
Well,
And the report gives an example of, for example, the launch of the Sony MP3 versus the iPod. And obviously, Sony, we know, is a very orthodox organization, is a very long-standing brand name, and has very Japanese culture. And Apple, we know, is a very modern brand. And what research, the example they gave was Apple able to launch its iPod within 8 months because of the collaborative culture within Apple. So that's an illustration of how you can achieve a competitive advantage, not through innovation. Innovation is one part, but also through collaboration and sharing. So I suppose that's the takeaway from this particular discussion. I'm just going to move on this way, we can add to that as well. Because the next part is one that you particularly enjoyed in the report, was around, they're saying, well, one of the ways the report suggests for the issue of the century, one of the attributes, one of the characteristics, it is through the study of brain science. But I was quite amazed when I read this section because, it assumes that, for those of you who are not believers in Darwinism, but it assumes that the human brain has developed from the dinosaur age, from the reptilian age, and and as we advance, become executive brains to take over. Somewhere in our sort of brain cells is this reptilian characteristic. I like the lizard characteristic. And it says that in the Google world, because there's so much uncertainty, we're constantly triggering our lizard brain, our reptilian brain. And therefore, and when we trigger that part of our brain, we tend to be very reactive. We tend to either fight, or we tend to flight, or we tend to freeze, which when you encounter a chicken, which is a small lizard. That is precisely what the lizard does. So my next question to you, very again, I'll start with this when I'll move across. This was quite excited about this part of the research. And he's been through executive coaching very recently. And therefore, do you think that in Pakistan, because we are facing so many external, if you like, interventions and threats and complexities, do you agree that we need to manage our reactive nature and make a way of executive coaching, helping us to understand our reptilian or lizard reaction to the way the leaders gain some advantage?
Well, absolutely. You can see that participate in this part of it. A year back, mindfulness was nice. Some of us were, if you have, when you were in a conference, or in a workshop, psychologists in a nice situation, and you were doing a little bit of yoga, and it just had the value to that extent that you really breaking down that experience. But I never thought it had any relevance in the workplace for me, and it came almost a year back when part of my development where we had a coach in the way who was working with me for a year. And we paid a lot of money to us, so I thought I was going to get some very interesting business insights and how to be the next leader, etc. And our session started with okay, close your eyes and just relax. We paid let's go what's going on. And really it was such a big, aha moment to say to me, it is absolutely critical for you to be conscious that you can get into fight or flight mode, irrespective if you've been hugely successful in life. When you are an amazing manager, you have to become conscious of this. And I would urge everyone to go and start fighting things and be at least read that page and be mindful of and be conscious that you can fail by when that fight or flight mode is triggered. And then it has, as the long shadow of the leader, the side that it has extremely bad implications, sometimes even long term, and on a number of people and aspects when that happens. So be conscious of that, and next week I talk about, and be conscious that that's going to trigger that particular mode in you is very critical for you to realize, so that you will be able to see and recognize themselves in that situation and say, if they can't accept, at least start with please say the situation to understand, okay, you need to take a break, you need to breathe, you need to relax, and then come in.
In the UK, this mentioned mindfulness, as a mechanism of training. I read in a report that there's now a UK parliamentary group dedicated to mindfulness, and they come out with a report. Why do you feel that this is gathering, such intense sort of attention and for leaders and individuals?
I think it's underpinned by the need for health and well-being of the individual and of the business. There's no doubt that the pressure that you put yourself under, and therefore if you're going to from the organisation, can have perverse consequences. So it's trying to, I think, what we're trying to always achieve is that energy, positive energy, that drives an organisation forward. So we don't let us, we started out today on the sun management group, you want the energy, but a healthy energy, that is where your mind isn't overcrowded, where you're not focusing on the wrong things, where you're not reacting. And I think most of all actually freezing. I can see that in people quite frequently where the freeze mode is the one that's come into, because there is so much going on that nothing happens. There's no reaction. So I think in the UK and also, and it's a bit ironic actually, being here in Pakistan, where the SSA Pakistan has been working tremendously hard and long hours all week for these events, so I feel a little bit guilty saying this, but I do see well-being as absolutely critical for relocating our employee engagement for the organisation. When we see a dip in well-being, it's quite often related, it's not about the actual illnesses that people are having, it's the pressure that they're feeling under, the conflicting priorities, the lack of clarity within the organisation. There's just too much going on. So providing that space for people to be healthy and then productive is more and more important.
You tend to agree with when the report talks about, managing your reactive brains and all the stress and the pressure on work?
Absolutely. I think the more information we have and then we have to react immediately, we don't have enough time to reflect and think and take a pause. And that pause is very important in life, whether it's a personal or a professional life. And to just assimilate and then take decisions. The pace of change is also impacting the way our brains are working overtime, quite frankly. And Helen raises a very good point in terms of wellness and health of your employees, of your people as well, which is something which psychologists are looking at now, that the stress levels have gone up so much that you inherently collapse and it's not sustainable. And obviously over a long period of time it affects the organization. The reason why people tend to step back is that when you are overcrowded with a lot of information and then you have volatility and unpredictability in the situation around you as a business, as an individual, there's just too much to take at that. So we need to redesign the way we function as organizations as well, and there are already leading organizations out there who have transformed the work environment and culture. So the future of work is a conversation that is very closely linked to the work as well, whether it's flexible hours, whether it's working from home, whether it's quite frankly working from anywhere in order to get that job done, which also gives individuals the space to manage their work life balance more effectively.
Also, being, like fees, you agree with this sort of report emphasis on managing, and reflecting and managing your reptilian brain?
I think it's human reaction analysis, human brain, and we all have it. I think that will make it worse if related to the earlier part of the report with the technological availability of information basically inundated us with information and data points which we had to react. When we let that control how we operate, we react in a human manner which we are never going to accept. The important, I think, part here is that conscious effort is required to break that vicious cycle. As an organization, as leaders of that organization, leadership has to be conscious that effort needs to be made so that people have flexible hours, as Martin was saying, or they have personal time, they have time to reflect, they have time to process the information. Leadership needs time to process the information and to react to the information that happens. So the key technique of that has been articulated in the report. I'm sure there are techniques available, but the root cause is there. We are letting the world take over our lives. That must be.
Yes. So I'm going to just quickly move on to the individual providers from team members. One of the questions that's coming in online, do let me know if you would like to answer this, is that a lot of our employees obviously both online work in SMEs. So it's a very relevant question. They're asking either interaction with employees and SMEs is next to zero. So what can we do to change this? So these are some of our members working in SMEs, very smaller organizations. So how do they sort of adopt the things that we've been talking about within SMEs? Who would like to answer that?
If I may, in regards to the things that we have been discussing, majority of those things will be relevant to us. They will need to collaborate within their organization, being a small organization. I assume that comes naturally. The work environment does facilitate that. They need to, whoever is leading that organization, they need to be mindful of the competitive environment in which they operate. So the principles remain applicable. That is the beauty of the principle. It remains applicable at the different scenarios, its criticality, and the way it is absorbed and reacted to would require specific approaches. And I believe what we have discussed here is that the scale of the business will have an impact in terms of the effort that needs to be put into absorb certain sectors.
As I think the panel has been saying, that we see collaboration is actually happening more easily in SMEs and those aspects. So maybe what the question is referring to is the opportunity for leadership exposure and new experiences. One recommendation very much is those who are professionals should be making use of their professional network. So looking outside the business within SMEs, member-based CA or member-event professional association, there are lots of leadership opportunities and opportunities for exposure in different environments outside the workplace that will then enhance your performance in the business or your career moving to medium and large size businesses. So I do think taking advantage of those broader opportunities is really
I think the question I think probably asked probably leaders in SMEs that constantly I think that this time the Chambers of Commerce, because I think we have an MOU with the Chambers of Commerce, so this may be a good area to interact with them. So I'm going to move on. There's a question here around the trade-off between empowerment. So if you're working on collaboration and sharing, also means that we're empowering people. But is there a trade-off between empowerment and accountability? And how do leaders manage the trade-off between empowerment and accountability?
Of the organization as well. Empowerment is absolutely essential if you want your leaders to grow at the next level of leaders to grow as well. But in order for the organization to ensure sustainability of good performance and high performance, accountability has to be part and parcel of that model. And they are both interlinked with organizations who are very focused and ensuring that there is, as highlighted, a good idea or change of how you do business can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be the CEO or the CFO sitting there coming up with an idea for process, system, whatever change that may be. And that, in order to ensure that idea reaches the business case desk and also is transformed into something which impacts business, is actually where empowerment starts. But then making that individual responsible and accountable is absolutely key.
I think this also comes down to performance management systems concentrating on behaviours as much as outputs and tasks. And what you're looking for from leaders is that you demonstrate in how the business delivers results. So looking at the behaviours of your leadership and holding them accountable for those as much as the outputs and the traditional business metrics is really important in creating the culture that will enable empowerment to flourish.
I think, that is very important. I think this is where you become, because being a leader is about management management. And in terms of accountability versus, collaboration, there is a trade-off. And as a leader, you have to see, yes, I may lose my individual departmental objective here, but our organization and our customers and society and the value we are creating is much bigger. And to be able to recognize that and to be able to weigh it is a critical component of leadership, right? So yes, if you just follow accountability, you go to your standards. So when coming down to standard means taking on and being able to say that yes, I will do something in this, but overall you will be, and overall you will be better off. And that is, I think, that organization.
Great. So I'll take two questions from the audience. We're running out of time. We've got the young man back there with his hand up. I don't know who's in charge of the roaming microphone. Anybody else with a question? We'll get the microphone to the young man at the back. Meanwhile, put your hand up if you would like to ask a question. And we've got our friend from Arthur Lawrence who would like to ask a question. Very quickly, does this have No.
Yeah, I mean, it is really an act of discussion with the leadership.
No.
Do you think that focusing on startup incubation within the multinational companies is a way forward to actually think outside the box and present a new perspective on the conventional R&D of the organization with mentoring and support of the C-suite, ultimately leading to new product development strategies that are not comprehended by companies? Like Wisconsin said that iPod was not considered to destroy the music industry and Airbnb was not considered to destroy the airline industry. Do you think that new perspective from a whole different group of people who are not exposed to the multinational but have the potential to give their input, do you think that the mentoring and the leadership of C-suite and incubation of the startups within the multinational is a way forward to challenge the R&D that is currently being operated within the multinational? Thank you.
You picked up on the question better than me, but anyone would like to take that question as well?
I would endorse the opinion, not in terms of challenging the R&D, but complementing fresh ideas with regards to the the products that companies can take to market serve the need of the customer at the end of the day, but that way that we can inform customers themselves. So yes, there should be higher degree of engagement, and I've seen instances whereby very interesting and out of the box ideas have been presented. I do believe that there is a need for the right level of mentoring, because the asset that the startups have is the idea. The large companies understand how to productize it, how to effectively take. There is value of the R&D which the company does itself. The startup won't replace it, in my personal opinion, but a higher degree of engagement is required in our market. We are seeing a large number of startups keep doing throughout the news. There is a need for greater engagement.
That one needs to encourage that and ensure that it's connected with what the customer wants as well, and that is constantly changing, just like the environment. But one thing I'd like to say, and again, my opinion, when we talk about out of the box, I think there is no box now. Unfortunately, this is not ours because of the merger and not a merger, an overlap of different industries and sectors and products. There is no such thing as a box. So you're just thinking and being creative, and that is why startups and entrepreneurial ventures are so critical, especially in a country like Pakistan. We have almost 200 million people. We've got 60% under the age of 30. I mean, we have to create jobs, opportunities, and a good idea can come from anywhere. And the ecosystem has to work towards ensuring that we are allowing these ideas not only to be generated, but allowing them to have the infrastructure to go to market.
And the other was
I think so.
So, can we have the next question?
Yeah, thanks. I'm Hasan Kazmi from Tamil. Sorry. We are working in consultancy since last 5 to 6 years, and you see the feedback thing. I would like to add on that point to the competitor issue, and especially bringing the people other than accountants. Like once we are having business, we have projects where we have to collaborate with other professionals like engineers and other professional designers and other professionals. What do you think? Do we need to, once we go into networking, do we need to tap on the opportunities? So we develop a networking session or some sort of scenario where we can meet other professionals. But you see, being a facilitator since last 10 years, being a member of the association, I've seen that we cannot go about being a conventional accountant because it's not so easy anymore to be a theoretical accountant, because nowadays it calls for probably to be more of a strategic partner for businesses rather than being an accountant.
I get a good point of your question. In other words, what you're saying is that we tend to collaborate with individuals who are like us, the professionals, accountants tend to collaborate with other professionals. So the question was, how can we go beyond that? What do we need to do in order to collaborate with other professionals, engineers, lawyers, etc., within the teams? Would anybody like to pick up on that? Because I think you mentioned something in your points around collaboration beyond your.
Yes, especially in smaller companies, external collaboration becomes very important because the chances are that expertise, maybe even knowledge within your company, because of the smaller size, will not be adequate to be able to be a viable competitor in this world. So, the avenues that are probably open to you would be 1 to 3 connections. Then it would be your own profession, and then expanding into other forums that have been mentioned. For example, if you need to collaborate with engineers, I can probably not give you an answer today, but my idea would be that if I needed that kind of thing, I would find engineering forums. find universities, find academia, and find out who is the best source for the information or the network, specific network that you're looking for. These days, one of the biggest challenges for companies of any size is where to find the information that are needed to be able to make a decision. And this is a challenge which is partly underestimated. And in your case, perhaps as a small company, you can come with a challenge that you're looking for specific areas where you explore their expertise and perhaps go that direction.
Just quickly, I think that talking about the C-suites, you should be expecting to hardly ever be collaborating with people who have the same professional, same skill set, or same background as yourself. I think the skill is in either recruiting or identifying those who complement what you have and bring something more to you. And then actually try to make sure that they are better than you at many things. And the skill is in embracing all of that, managing it and getting value out of it. And I think being able to communicate and collaborate across skill sets and professions is absolutely key to the C-suite success.
Already happening. Just after that, is that when you go back to your academic institutions and the education ecosystem, maybe it's not here in Pakistan yet, but for example, Finland, where they have thinking of doing away with subjects and having a more collaborative approach or project-based approach in terms of studying traditional subjects. It's an interesting concept, and it's a matter of time when it takes speed and it will have to the rest of the world. So you go back to how the academic institutions are becoming less system and that. But so yeah, that's very interesting, perhaps.
Certainly a lot of reforms needed. But I'm going to end it here. So what I'm going to do is, yes, yesterday signed their MOU with Pakistan and private institutes. So we're also making efforts in order to diversify more networks. We're hoping that through the MOUs we sign with other organizations, they can exposure to other professions and diversity of people. We've also got a number of MOUs with chambers of commerce as well. So, and we do a lot of events with them where we will meet businessmen from all walks of life. So that's a way for members here to diversify their interaction. I'm going to end here. I do apologize for not taking any more questions, but we are running out of time. I'm going to hand back to Amar, and we're going to have a group photo and handing out the souvenirs. So, a big round of applause, please, for all the panelists.
Thank you very much. It's such an insightful conversation, and I hope that the session serves to cover most of the insights and are able to also answer a lot of your questions related to leadership fit for the 21st century. We would now like to present the mentors to our conversation leaders. I would ask Mr. Sajid Aslam to please join us once again on stage. Mr. Harun Jan, Regional Head of Member Affairs, Milasa, please also join us. And also with us today is Mr. Ahmed Alaluddin, MMP Chair, please also come and join us on stage for the mentors. So, Father Asad, please, the Director, Agnes Consulting. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to our panelists. Javed Khan, CEO, ExxonMobil Pakistan Limited. Mr. Abani, Business Control and Finance Director, Tetra Pak. Rishani Ijaz, Managing Director, Catholic Foundation, but she's actually no longer with us. Rizwan Tabana, CEO of Fintech. Thank you, and just request everybody for a group photograph. I would request Helen. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank our panelists once again for being with us this morning. Technology has become the driving force behind many changes to society and the global economy. While the exact scale of transformation is hard to predict, there is no doubt that the impact of FinTech across traditional functions of finance will be significant. What makes FinTech so potentially transformative is the scope of HCA's research report for FinTech Transforming Finance. Let's begin this session with Dr. Amjad Saqib, keynote address. Dr. Amjad, founder of the world's largest interest-free microfinance program, Akua. In recognition of his services across many spheres, the President of Pakistan honored him with the Imtiaz. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand, Mr. Amjad Saqib.
मैं अपनी ज़बान में गुफ्तगू करना ज़्यादा पसंद करता हूँ। वैसे भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने हुक्म जारी किया हुआ है कि अंग्रेजी में तकरीर न की जाए, तो आपकी इजाज़त से मैं उर्दू में ही गुफ्तगू करूँगा। सबसे पहले तो मैं मुबारकबाद पेश करता हूँ इस खूबसूरत तकरीर के इनेकाद पर, और इसके साथ ही मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि मुझे यहाँ पर इतने अच्छे, इतने प्रोफेशनल, इतने बड़े लोगों के दरमियान कुछ कहने का मौका मिला। मुझे सबसे पहले तो इस बात का एहसास करना है कि मेरा कोई फाइनेंशियल बैकग्राउंड नहीं है, ना मेरे पास पैसे हैं, ना पैसे कमाने का फन जानता हूँ। मैं सिविल सर्वेंट था और फिर उसके बाद मैंने रिजाइन कर दिया और बुनियादी तौर पर मैं एक सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजर हूँ, कम्युनिटी के साथ काम करता हूँ। तो मैंने जब सिविल सर्विस में था तो अचानक मुझे एहसास हुआ कि मेरी जो सलाहियत है वो सिविल सर्विस के तकाज़ों के मुताबिक नहीं है। ये गुफ्तगू मैं इस तरह में कर रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पर टीम एक लीडरशिप भी है। तो उन दिनों मैंने एक किताब पढ़ी जिसमें ये लिखा हुआ था कि वो मुकाम जहाँ خواہش قلبی اور فرض منصبی کا اتصال ہو جائے خوش قسمتی کہلاتا ہے. یعنی جو آپ کر رہے ہو وہ اگر آپ کے دل کی آواز بھی ہے تو آپ اس مقام پر پہنچ جائیں گے جو خوش بختی یا خوش نصیبی کہلاتا ہے. تو ہر شخص کو اس مقام کی تلاش ہوتی ہے اور جو شخص اس مقام کی تلاش میں کامیاب ہو جائے وہ لیڈر بن جاتا ہے. اس قسم کی کچھ سوچیں تھیں جس کی بنا پر سول سروس کے گوشہ عافیت سے نکل کر میں نے گلیوں میں ٹوٹی ٹوٹی بستیوں میں کھیتوں کھلیانوں میں ان جگہوں پر جانے کا فیصلہ کیا جہاں سے پاکستان بستا ہے. پھر بھی میں نے سول سروس سے چھٹی لے لی کچھ دنوں کے لیے. میرا یہ خیال تھا کہ میں کچھ کام کروں گا کچھ سیکھوں گا اور کنٹریبیوٹ کروں گا اپنے حصے کی شمع روشن کروں گا اور وہ تبدیلی جو آپ بھی چاہتے ہیں میں بھی چاہتا ہوں ایک ایسے معاشرے کی تشکیل جس میں ہر شخص کو عزت اور آبرو سے زندہ رہنے کا حق حاصل ہو وہ کروں گا اور پھر واپس لوٹ کر اسی خوبصورت ایوان میں پھر سے بنا لوں گا. لیکن جب میں لوگوں کے درمیان آیا تو مجھے پھر احساس ہوا کہ میری جو صلاحیت ہے وہ کس کام کے لیے زیادہ موزوں ہے. اور دوسرے میں یہ بھی احساس ہوا کہ یہ غربت کا جو گہرا سمندر ہے یہ ایک دن میں ختم نہیں ہوگا. اور وہ ایک بڑا خوبصورت سا شعر ہے کہ مستی ہم کو یہ سمجھے کہ ہوگا کوئی ذات تیرے دل میں تو بہت کام رسو کا نکلا. تو مجھے یہ احساس ہوا کہ نہیں یہ تو کام بہت گہرے توجہ اور استقرار کا تقاضا کرتا ہے. پھر میں نے استعفیٰ دے دیا اور ایک بڑا منفرد سا قدم اٹھایا. آپ میں سے بہت سے لوگ اس سے آشنا ہیں. ہم نے کہا کہ قرض دیا جائے لوگوں کو فائنینشیل انٹرمیڈیشن کی جائے سوشل انٹرمیڈیشن کی جائے لیکن کیا ہی اچھا ہو کہ قرض سود کے بغیر. تو وہ لوگوں کو بڑی حیرت سے ہوئی کہ یہ ایک وزیر اعظم کو میں نے بتایا کہ میں ایک ایسا قرض دیتا ہوں جس میں سود نہیں دیتا. تو وہ ٹھیک سے گئے کھڑے ہو گئے انہوں نے ناراضگی سے میری طرف دیکھتے ہوئے کہا کہ آپ کیا کماتے ہیں. تو میں بڑا حیرت ہوا کہ ایک ملک کا وزیر اعظم ہے اس کو میں یہ بتا رہا ہوں کہ ہم ایسا قرضہ دیتے ہیں جس سے لوگ فائدہ ہوتا ہے. وہ الٹا مجھ سے سوال کر رہے ہیں کہ آپ کیا کماتے ہیں. تو میں نے کہا کہ جو قرض ہوتا ہے وہ تو ہوتا ہی بلا سود ہے. جو سود کے ساتھ ہوتا ہے وہ قرض نہیں ہوتا وہ کاروبار ہوتا ہے. تو ہم لوگوں کے ساتھ کاروبار نہیں کرتے ہم لوگوں کو کاروبار کے لیے آگے بڑھنے کا موقع فراہم کرتے ہیں. تو ہمارا جس قسم کے واقعات ہوتے رہے اور ہم نے دنیا کا پہلا قرض حسن پروگرام دوستوں کی مدد سے اس کی بنیاد رکھی. 10,000 سے وہ سفر شروع ہوا. وہ کہتے ہیں کہ انیس دم کا بھروسہ نہیں ہے جاؤ چراغ لے کے کہاں سامنے ہوا کے چلے. لوگوں نے کہا کہ مشکل سا کام ہے آپ نہیں کر پائیں لیکن الحمدللہ آج ہم 15 سال کے بعد دنیا کا سب سے بڑا بغیر سود کا قرض حسن لونز پروگرام ہے. 33 ارب روپوں سے زائد کی رقم 17 لاکھ خاندانوں کو پیش کر چکے ہیں اور 17 لاکھ خاندان ایک کروڑ سے زائد افراد بنتے ہیں. اس رقم سے ان لوگوں نے پہلے سے موجود کاروبار میں اضافہ کیا یا نیا کاروبار کیا. بہرحال اپنی محنت دیانت صداقت کی بدولت اس چھوٹی چھوٹی رقم سے بڑے بڑے خواب دیکھے اور آج الحمدللہ ان 17 لاکھ خاندانوں میں سے 70% لوگ لینے سے دینے والے بن گئے یعنی وہ کسی ادارے کے ڈونرز بن چکے ہیں. اور آپ کو ایک طرف تو یہ سن کے حیرت ہوگی کہ 99.9% اور دوسری طرف اس سے کہیں بڑی حیرت ہوگی بلکہ آپ کے سینے میں یہ بات ایک اعزاز کی طرح سے آئے گی جب میں آپ کو یہ بتاؤں گا کہ پچھلے बरस में पिछले माली साल में ये छोटे छोटे लोगों ने जो छोटे छोटे बड़े बड़े लोगों ने जो छोटे छोटे कारोबार किए, कोई रेडी लगाई, कोई दुकान लगाई, कोई मोटरसाइकिल रिपेयर का काम किया, ऑटो रिपेयर का काम किया, तो उन्होंने असल रकम के अलावा 17 करोड़ रुपए की रकम हमें ताज़ियात के तौर पर दी थी। यानी उन्होंने जो कुछ कमाया, अब ये बहुत बड़ा फाइनेंशियल इंटरमीडिएशन है, ये बहुत तरह का फाइनेंशियल अरेंजमेंट है। एक तो यह है कि आप कहें कि हम कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल वसूल करेंगे आपसे, हमने एक कदम आगे बढ़ाते हुए कहा कि नहीं, हम कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल नहीं लेंगे, हम आपको ये एहसास देंगे कि मुश्किल के वक्त में हमने विदाउट कॉस्ट आपको कैपिटल दिया, और जब आप उसकी मदद से कोई कारोबार करेंगे तो हम आपसे तवक्को करेंगे आप भी इन्हीं शराइत के ऊपर किसी और की मदद करें। यानी अगर एक माशरे में विशेष सर्कल है, उसके मुकाबले में एक वर्चुअल साइकिल भी होना चाहिए, और इसकी बुनियाद इस असम्पशन पर रखी गई कि लोग एतमाद के काबिल हैं, ट्रस्ट वर्ती हैं, क्रेडिट वर्ती हैं, बैंक वर्ती हैं। और ये नतीजा आपके सामने है कि अगर आप मोहब्बत देंगे तो मोहब्बत मिलेगी, अगर आप फूल बोएंगे तो फूल काटेंगे, आप आंडे बोएंगे तो चावल करेंगे। ये थोड़ा सा पस मंजर था, मेरी थोड़ी सी उस काविश का कि किस तरह एक काम हमने शुरू किया और किस मुकाम पर पहुंचा। तो लीडरशिप के हवाले से मैं ये कहूँगा कि दो तीन जो एसेंस है उसको मैं आपके सामने तस्करा करूँगा, फिर थोड़ी सी बात आपकी टेक्नोलॉजी के हवाले से। Leadership is the process of inspiring others to achieve common goals. ये प्रोसेस है जिसमें आप अपना एक ख्वाब जो है वो किसी और को सौंप देते हैं, और फिर एक रोल मॉडल की हैसियत से आप उस शख्स को भी वही ताकत, वही तवानाई, वही बेचैनी, वही इस्तराब, वही इश्क, वही दीवानगी, वही जुनून का शिकार कर देते हैं, और फिर आप सब लोग मिलकर उस मंजिल के हसूल के लिए काम करते हैं जो आपका विजन है। ये विजन इंडिविजुअलाइज भी हो सकता है, ये विजन सोशलाइज भी हो सकता है, ये विजन किसी कंपनी का भी हो सकता है। तो इसीलिए आमतौर पर विजन को एक स्टेटमेंट की शक्ल में लोग अपने दफ्तर में लिखकर लगाते हैं ताकि उनको याद रहे कि उनकी जिंदगी का मकसद क्या है, और वो दोबारा आपकी शख्सियत और आपके मिजाज का वो हिस्सा बन जाता है। तो लीडर्स जो है वो सिर्फ दो काम करते हैं छोटे छोटे। पहला काम ये होता है कि वो एक ख्वाब देखते हैं, और दूसरा काम ये होता है कि उस ख्वाब की ताबीर पाते हैं। पर इसमें भी ये है कि 70-80% लोग ख्वाब नहीं देखते, वो जैसे हैं वैसे ही जिंदगी गुजार के करने वापसी फिर परेशान होते हैं कि हमने क्या किया। उनके दामन में किसी भी तरह का कोई या कोई कारनामा या कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है जिसके ऊपर वो अपने खालिक के सामने जाकर सर उठाकर बात कर सके कि मैंने जिंदगी के इस तोहफे को कैसे पसंद किया। वो इकबाल ने कहा है कि रोज़े हिसाब पेश हो जब मेरा दस्तरे अमल, आप भी शर्मसार हो मुझको भी शर्मसार कर। यानी हमारे दामन में कोई ऐसी चीज ही नहीं कि हम अपने खालिक को बता सकें कि तूने हमें नायक बनाया था, तो हमने इस कायनात की तामीर के लिए क्या काम किया। तो लीडर्स जो है वो बियॉन्ड है, वो मावरा है इस उम्र से वो ख्वाब देखते हैं। और फिर बहुत से लोग ख्वाबों पर ही इत्तफा करते हैं, ख्वाबों की ताबीर का सफर शुरू नहीं करते। तो लीडर दूसरा काम भी करता है। यानी लीडर ये कहता है कि ख्वाब से कोई नहीं होते जो सोते हुए देखे जाए, बल्कि ख्वाब तो वो है जो इंसान को सोने ही नहीं देते। तो फिर वहां से एक और सफर शुरू होता है जिसको ताबीर का सफर कहते हैं। आप कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटीज में जो उस काम करते हैं वो उस ताबीर के सफर के लिए आपको तैयार करते हैं। यदि आप फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट सीखते हैं, आप अकाउंटिंग सीखते हैं, आप ह्यूमन रिसोर्स सीखते हैं, आप कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन सीखते हैं, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल सीखते हैं, ये सारी चीजें आपको इक्विप करती हैं, आपको तैयार करती हैं, आपकी शख्सियत की तामीर करती हैं, और फिर वो जो ख्वाब है वो ताबीर की शक्ल में सामने आता है। اور ہم ایک نئی دنیا، ایک نیا سماج، ایک نیا معاشرہ تعمیر ہو رہے ہیں. یہ تو میرا لیڈرشپ کا تصور ہے. یہ سب پروسیس کا ہے جس میں سب سے پہلے خواب دیکھ کر پھر اس خواب کو پورا کیا جاتا ہے. اخوت جس ادارے کا میں نے ابھی تذکرہ کیا اس میں کام کرتے ہیں انہوں نے 4 بیسک انگریڈینٹس ہمارے سامنے آئے کہ یہ اگر ہوں تو آپ لیڈرشپ کے جو چیلنج ہے اس کو پورا کر سکتے ہیں. پہلی چیز تو وہی ہے جو میں نے آپ سے خواب دیکھنا ضروری ہے. اور دوسری چیز ہے پیشن، جس کو اقبال عشق ہے. اس خواب سے آپ کا عشق ہے وہ پھر موجودہ نما ہوتا ہے جس کو ہم تعبیر ہے. اور عشق کے بارے میں کسی نے کہا کہ عشق نہیں آسان، بس اتنا سمجھ لیجیے کہ آگ کا دریا ہے اور ڈوب کے جانا. تو اگر اس آگ کے دریا میں سے ڈوب کے جانے کی ہمت ہے تو پھر آپ اس خواب کو پورا کر سکتے ہیں. تو پیشن کے بعد تیسری چیز بیٹھا ہے میرے جانے کا وقت آ گیا. بس میں یہ میں نہیں کہہ رہا کہ یہ چند چیزیں آپ سے شیئر کرنا میری ذمہ داری میں سمجھ رہا ہے. اور خواب، عشق، پھر تیسری چیز ہے صداقت اور دیانت. بدقسمتی سے سچائی سے ہمارا رشتہ ٹوٹ گیا. جو صحیح معنوں میں ایجنٹ اور چینج ہے، معاشرے میں تبدیلی لانا چاہتا ہے، اگر اس کے دامن میں صداقت اور امانت جیسی خوبیاں نہیں ہیں تو پھر وہ بھول جائے کہ وہ ایک اچھی دنیا تعمیر کر سکتا ہے. چوتھی چیز کی طرف توجہ میں آپ کی جانا چاہوں گا وہ ہے اکاؤنٹیبلٹی اور سیلف ڈسپلن. آپ اکاؤنٹنٹس ہیں، آپ غلطیاں پکڑ لیتے ہیں. آپ فائنینشیل یا کوئی بھی غلطی ہے آپ پروسیس آڈٹ بھی کرتے ہیں، فائنینشیل آڈٹ بھی کرتے ہیں، پرفارمنس آڈٹ بھی کرتے ہیں، ٹیکنالوجی کا آڈٹ بھی کرتے ہیں. لیکن سب سے بڑا آڈٹ جو ہے نا وہ انسان خود ہے. یہ 2 آڈیٹر چندوں پر بھی بیٹھے ہیں لیکن اس سے بھی بڑا آڈیٹر ہم خود ہیں. ہمیں ہر روز شام کو سونے سے پہلے اور کل صبح بیدار ہونے سے پہلے اگر ایک سوال اپنے آپ سے پوچھیں کہ کیا میں نے اپنے فرائض سے دیانتداری کی، تو میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ بہت سے ہمارے مسائل میں حل ہو سکتے. تو یہی لیڈرشپ کا ایسنس ہے. آخری چیز جس نے مجھے سب سے زیادہ متاثر کیا ہے کہ آپ نے آج غور و فکر کے لیے اکٹھے ہوئے ہیں کہ ٹیکنالوجی فیوچر کے فائنینشیل لینڈسکیپ کے ساتھ اثر انداز ہو. میں یقین کیجیے 15 سال کے سفر کے بعد میں حیرت ہوں کہ ہم آج کہاں پہنچے. پھر میں اقبال کا ایک شعر میرے کانوں میں اقبال جشن کی طرح گونج رہا ہے. یہ آنکھ لوکش دیکھتی ہے لب پہ آ سکتا نہیں، میں حیرت ہوں کہ دنیا کیا سے کیا ہو رہا ہے. آج ٹیکنالوجی نے جس طریقے سے فائنینشیل لینڈسکیپ کو، فائنینشیل انڈسٹری کو متاثر کیا ہے وہ انبلیویبل. فیوچر میں بینکنگ، انشورنس، سیونگز، ان سب کی کیا تصویر ہوگی، کیا شکل ہوگی، اس کے بارے میں آپ کچھ بھی کہہ دیں وہ ایک پروفیسی ہو. بہت تیزی سے دنیا بدل، کیا یہ بینک موجود رہیں، کیا یہ برانچز موجود رہیں، یہ کمپیوٹر، یہ انٹرنیٹ، یہ فیس بک اور یہ آپ کا موبائل، یہ کہاں ہمیں لے جائے. یہ ایک بڑا ٹائملی موقع ہے کہ آپ سب لوگ سوچ رہے ہیں کہ ٹیکنالوجی آج کس مقام پر ہے اور اس میں کس قدر امکانات یہ دنیا چھپی ہوئی. غالب کا ایک شعر میں اگر آپ کو سناؤں گا کہ ہے کہاں تمنا کا دوسرا قدم یاد، ہم نے دشت امکان کو ایک نقشے پا پایا. یعنی امکان کا جو ایک وسیع لینڈسکیپ ہمارے سامنے ہے یہ صرف ایک قدم ہے. آپ کے پاس اتنی ذہانت ہے، اتنا انٹلیکٹ ہے، اتنا تجربہ ہے، اور وہ جو لیڈرشپ کی میں نے بات کی کہ لیڈرشپ آنے والے زمانوں کی تصویر دیکھنے کا نام. لیڈر بغاوت کرتا ہے، احتجاج کرتا ہے، تبدیلی کا قدم اٹھاتا ہے. اگر اس کے پاس علم، ریسرچ اور ٹیکنالوجی کا ہتھیار موجود ہو तो फिर वो एक नकाबिश ही दुनिया को तामीर कर सकता है। तो आई विश यू ऑल बेस्ट कि आप मुस्तकबिल को झांकने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। टेक्नोलॉजी के पेशे से आप दूर की तरफ बोलना चाहते हैं। तो ये शीरिंग और फहार का हिस्सा है। मैं आपको मोबाइल पर पेश करता हूँ।
ख्वाब देखना और उस ख्वाब को रियलिटी में तब्दील करना पैशन के साथ, मेरा ख्याल से यही एक लीडर की सबसे बड़ी खूबी होती है। थैंक यू सो मच अमित साहब फॉर बीइंग विद अस। Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Now I would like to invite our conversation leaders once again for a discussion on FinTech transforming businesses. Are we ready? To join us on stage, I would request Mr. Arif Masood Mirza to please join us. Ladies and gentlemen, please do it. Mr. Ali Sayed, founder and chief scientist, Versatile. Ali Hussain, CEO, Tarangaz, Pakistan. John Davis, head of finance and control, Nestle Pakistan. And Mr. Kabir Naqvi, Chief Operating Officer, U Microfinance Bank Limited. Nadeem Malik, currently at IBM Pakistan. Again, there will be 15 minutes Q&A session after the discussion. And over to you, Arif. Thank you.
Hello again, and like I was saying, I apologize if you're seeing me again, but I'm sort of monopolizing the moderating function for the conference. Dr. Thank you very much for your very compelling sort of message on following on dreams and converting them into realities and keeping that passion. It's very, very important, and it requires a lot of us here at ACCA. The next discussion is around FinTech, which is an acronym for Finance and Technology, transforming finance. I read the paper. It's an area where I also struggle with and trying to identify how is this really impacting me? How is it, how am I going to get my head around all these changes? But you guys were in industry. We're hoping to tap into your knowledge and to share with us what's going on and how do we as finance professionals manage technology. It seems that the professional accountants are facing several challenges from FinTech. One is connected with their traditional transactional growth, as more and more, from what I hear, cloud-based applications start providing bookkeeping services. So, John, your country, New Zealand, is a leading provider of something called Zero, because an app that a lot of SMEs and other organizations are using, to process their transactions and do their accounting. And then there are a host of other apps which are allowing the processing of receipts and invoices on your telephone, or mobile. So, how much of a threat? So, the question to all of you is how much of a threat is this to the transactional nature of the work that accountants and businesses or banks do? So who'd like to start with that question first? you like to start with that first?
Absolutely, thank you. Well, I think technology itself is absolutely going to change the way we work, and already is. In my experience with Nestle, we are using technology not only to do transactional work, but in fact to take services global. So in fact, technology is enabling the organisations to focus really on value-added activities and to leave the processing for machines and even in the future, I believe, robots. So FinTech is really at the forefront of that evolution to ensure that organisations that we all work for are going to be better servicing the customers and value-added products and services, and obviously you can enhance the quality of life that we all have as well, long term.
Is that your take on how FinTech is intervening in the world of finance?
Yes, I would like to add to it, like I've been example myself, CFO in my past life. We don't look at it as a threat. It's not an opportunity. It's the accounting standard setters and the regulators that have to come up the curve to deal with these. So if you ask me, by being microfinance bank, fintechs are helping us communicate. We have mass anchored our problem with hundreds and thousands of small loans, right? So this is an opportunity and opportunity. That's the way we look at it.
Let me say, for instance, UK, in terms of the way you see FinTech taking over the transactional role of professionals. You like to comment on?
Yeah, certainly. I will
Yes.
Hello, thank you so much. Hello everyone, so good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. Before I start, I'd like to comment definition of what FinTech is. That's certainly important so that all of us can connect it. So I think FinTech is primarily startups and companies who are trying to do things which are possibly reserved for financial services. So if that does something in technology, it might be considered FinTech, but they are currently adopting the demand and threats in the market. It's primarily this entire phenomenon of FinTech is reserved for startups and new companies who are trying to do things which are traditionally reserved for banks, financial services, insurance, and other players of the market. I think I agree with our fellow panelists here that it's not a threat, it's not an opportunity. It's a threat for those who don't want to change. Just want to add that as the people of yesterday are feeling confident that if they continue operating the way they always have been operating, they will succeed and compete and do things in the digital world. Fortunately, this is not the case. And now we see many new companies who are trying to do things new ways. And not all organizations like Nestle, IBM, Microsoft, they all are trying to understand the impact of this. Is most importantly trying to leverage it so that they can remain competitive and most importantly create new markets. So that was my early day.
Mr. Frost from Kalendar, if you'd like to add your views on this really, I think the question really around do our accountants find themselves increasingly out of a job through FinTech coming into the area of work, especially at base of the pyramid, the transactional work that a lot of accountants still believe that they have to start with.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I think it's both an opportunity and a threat. And I think FinTechs, for example, kind of very repetitive, very predictable kind of work, for example, bookkeeping. I would say those kind of jobs you probably take. And FinTechs would definitely, with IBM having a person and a lot of digital transactions happening, I think the need for those kind of jobs obviously will become redundant over time, and they are going to be driverless cars in the future. So that from that perspective, I think in certain verticals it will definitely be different. Look at the kind of products now being offered, and I think there are some which will be very, very near future will be offered in parts of digital credit, such as peer-to-peer lending and crowdfunding. So a lot of these innovations will take away the need for repetitive kind of jobs within the financial industry. To that extent, I would say disrupting the threat. In terms of the opportunity is obviously even fundamentally very first technology that came in the banking sector is the standard threat to the professional in the financial services industry with an ATM, automated machine. But you can see that we still find errors in that ATM. So the point is, it is going to be much more disruptive than ATM was.
The beginning stuff from IBM. Again, this whole question around, automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, increasing interventions by the attacks which are going to take over the transactional nature of loss. Your views on that?
I think technology has done such an long time. So I'm moving from look at it, there's no more carriers in any of this. Not alone accounting or the carriers are gone, they become jobs, they become tasks, and then they are. So, like everybody said, the foundational business is standardizing and outside of paying more money too much. And this is going to happen more and more into the upper grade, the move up the pyramid. And then the more artificial intelligence learn, the more machine learning, the more the jobs become. But that's an opportunity for all of us because at the end of the day, artificial intelligence still depends on human interaction, how we learn and how we grow ourselves. And that's an opportunity we need to come up with. What the FinTech, I think, let me just elaborate what you said. Financial sector will be very much automated. We used to be a customer of branch and become a customer of a bank, then a customer of anywhere you want to be. FinTech is basically the idea that the companies who are targeting the customer who are outside the banking sector. The banks only do very limited interaction. They keep your account and they give you the money when you want it. How the transaction happens, where you spend it, and how you want to do the transaction. That's the way the FinTech startups and companies are moving into it. The estimate is a $500 billion business outside the banks and that's good. So production business is a classic example of it. This is where I believe the opportunity for specifically with accounting professionals, because they understand the transactional business, they understand how two entities, the two individuals collaborate and they do the transaction and how I can automate and get the best out of it. I believe that's where the technology helps, that's where the regulation, that's where the environment is concerned.
One of the questions that comes to mind, and I think it's really in the area of finance, is around the modeling that we do, the financial modeling we do with presented with a FinTech app which is going to be used to scale up business. So, for example, Dr. London talked about how his microfinancing business has grown from a handful of borrowers, if you like, to hundreds of thousands. And that's the raison d'etre of FinTech, because it talks about large-scale sort of customer base. But my question is that, world of finance, it's very difficult to financially model for something which is so huge and scalable. So, each one of you, my question is, how do financial accountants and really also whether business and generally or leaders generally, how are they managing, the sort of reality of all of this scale of financial modeling? Perhaps I can ask you first.
Thank you. The recent example, the recent global example in past is the launch of branches banking in 2009 between Telor and Tanvi. So at Tanvi, when we were talking about it in 2007, knowing that the country is 86% of the country is unbanked, and we were one that we had a microfinance bank was to serve that part of the population, but we were very small. How could we scale? Then we started talking to these telcos, we looked at the M-Pesa model, which came here, which is the telco model. However, the regulator here was much more open to allow banks to get into this business and leverage onto the distribution networks of telcos. This is how it all started in 2007. Telenor was one of the that we spoke about here. And Telenor actually, in the end agreement, they acquired 51% of the merchant economy. But what did we do? 12,700 bank branches across the in Pakistan and 350,000 retailers of telecom in Pakistan. So even if you start comparing the two, it's absurd, right? So if we want to reach out to the masses, to scale the business to the extent, that would be only logical way to go, and the rest is history. And if you ask me as a CFO of that organization, how do we manage the scale? The idea was to get granular current account deposits, mass deposits for the bank, and for the telco to cater to the churn in the providing financial services to their clients. It was a win-win for us.
Let's say that developers of all these fintech, so products are very optimistic. Is there a level of optimism?
So I think this is a tricky question to answer in terms of whether there exists an optimism. Optimism drives the market. We need a certain element of optimism to exist. Secondly, again, like any other market, it attracts attention and newcomers and new opportunities and some charters and all these things. So I think this is where we should be settling and understand the market. So right now, this industry is divided between technology and business side. I think that line is more. And if the business side doesn't understand technology, this is very correct. And similarly, if technology doesn't understand business, I don't see any future for it. I think it's more about going forward, machines, plus minds, augmented intelligence, creating machines that are friends, and treating them as part of our daily life. So I think what we see in the industry here is kind of extension of our muscles. But this age and this time is giving us an extension of our brain. So I think that's why it's a safety kind of disruption which is unheard of, giving us a situation where we call it uncertain, ambiguous, or that environment. These are enormous. And new companies which are thriving are actually comfortable with these new models. So a lot of Fortune 500 companies or top 10 lists, they didn't exist 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. And this change is not going to be happening. I think you need to understand and become comfortable with and how you can become comfortable with it, talking about it, educating the next generation in this. And what I see in Pakistan, I think there exists a massive gap in terms of A, upskilling existing professionals, B, working with universities and academics to understand, gone are days, teaching bishops and working in the world. The curriculum has moved on. We need to focus on new things so that people can, do things in new ways. That would be my
I think it's like that. Today, optimism is driving two factors. One is opportunity scale is really, something that's like 10 million customers and he wants to reach another 18 million in Pakistan. So I think that's where he wants to take advantage. The technology that can provide you that reach to opportunities landscape can be huge. Then what's the turnaround time to have an idea converted into actually an app or things? That's what called the cloud has. Cloud is not certainly somewhere that's computer. You get to analytics, you get to the databases, you the platform. So you can turn around your application time, your idea conversion in the application is quite fast. With the agility and that being not improvement in the new ideas. These two things, let's say, two kids from university sitting in a Stanford or UAG have an idea, and they don't have to buy anything. So they have a computing power of Fortune 500 on their fingertips. From IBM, it is free, but they can pay for the cost. Convert the idea into the application and run and test. We still think they're driving that innovation. And that's why I think the opportunity for everybody in this audience is that how we can convert new ideas to the market. And then one kid is driving it, the idea of how my car, tell me what kind of make this required. And then they will shop ultimately face policymakers as not very much. I think about it as a question. Coming back to the numbers again, in the sense that, well, if I could bring you into this as well, but often the CFO, when there's a fintech opportunity presents itself, maybe on the, let's stick to the revenue generating side, the CFO is also involved in moderating and getting centric on the financials around that, to what revenue streams is going to generate in the future. So really go into the boardroom, with that sort of huge assumptions around it, around fintech business model. What are the risks which you think that CFOs and the finance function should face, in terms of again, the world, you model something, and suddenly there's a new product out, and your scale which you're predicting of hundreds of millions is suddenly being taken over by another product. So what is the CFO, so how does he manage volatility?
Well, I think, first of all, the biggest risk is to be closed-minded on fintech. It's easy in a large company to think that you're successful and you don't need to look at those things. So, first and foremost is to really accept that it is the talking world, it is changing, and you've got to be part of it. You've got to actually get the forefront of it. And as accountants, as finance professionals, and I agree with you, the lines are blurring between business and finance and in our industry. The future of finance people is to be business people, is to understand the business model and how can we bring value to that business model. And it may mean that you need to go out into the farms, you may need to go and sell with a salesperson, you may need to go and work at a factory for some time, and to understand how the business works. Because our role is no longer doing the asset equals liabilities and proprietorship balance sheet. It is really about how we add value. The biggest challenge we have is, I think, sometimes taking a chance and making a commitment on fintech in the organisation, where you have good strategic partners outside of the organisation also supporting a clear vision as to what we want to achieve. We've done something similar for ourselves in our industry, and now what we call our milkshake, we digitise our payments. And that required a key strategic partner and also a commitment from our business. And at the end of the day, it's not just about numbers. It's about where does this take your business model? What value add can you bring long term through implementing fintech in the organisation?
Let me bring in Bernard's and open up the question a bit more. You mentioned regulation, our economy, our orthodox business models are accustomed to, a set of regulatory framework in Pakistan, which is quite orthodox. We have the SEC, the state bank. A lot of the regulatory framework is based on, pre-21st century models. And now we're trying to adopt these fintech products. We're trying to scale up businesses through them. So what is your analysis of how the regulation has to also adapt and modernize? And is that happening? And what can we, as an accountancy body, do, working in collaboration with the fintech industry, to squeezing out the main areas where regulation is really causing harm to business growth?
Right, thank you very much. So it's a very crucial question, but just touching upon points before. So John said about valuations. I mean, one area where the finance professionals and the accounting industry can actually help is how do you value such a business? Right now, it's driven about you buy and design a financial app, and I can sign up to million people and they start using it. I can probably sell it for $10, $100 million. What's happened is not only anything, it's very illegal. So one area where financial professionals say how we can and how the value is how the value is started. How do you value fintech startup? And I think they developed about some of those kind of questions. The second point that I would like to raise is that was the optimism. There's a lot of fintech companies are optimistic. Apart from the 2 points that you mentioned, the relevant is capital moving down for them, and it's actually the idea. There's another reason is that all the plumbing and all the infrastructure of environmentally all of these benefits like smartphones is increasing, youthful population which is more tech savvy with smartphones. I mean, those are also some of the drivers that we see that the customer base. On the regulatory side, you're absolutely right. We recently we pushed a report looking at the regulatory framework. So if a new fintech comes up with a brilliant idea, they want to try it out and test the market. They go to the regulator, and the regulator says, well, we need to get a license, or you need to get registered in X amount of capital. And they can't do it. On the other hand, if you go to a financial institution like a bank, they scale and afraid that the bank will eat them up. And here I am, they want to get the value of that. And that's definitely a thing. And one of the things we also working with the university and regulation some of the things that we tried is having a sandbox approach that's used in the UK, for example, the financial authority has a sandbox approach where a fintech can come in and they want to test their business model for their application. So they acquire that kind of facility without huge costs and also without any liabilities. So I think we need to move in that direction. I think the regulator, interestingly, you mentioned the branch of regulations. They actually came out in 2007, and the process balance actually came to it. So to that extent, I would say the regulator was quite advanced. But in this very fast changing context, space, new regulation, we working actually when I was working with the industry on developing regulation and existing laws, and having and having a discussion, and I think this question will definitely be a
So we have the challenges out there, where an ex working for an organization that experimenting, developing fintech along that right there. So then, we saw an example recently of Java dealing with this Uber and Green. We haven't met this regulatory requirements, and they're moving on to us. So when accountants were not really, we only look at regulation around corporates and businesses and taxation. How do we sort of ensure that when we are developing that new apps, what is your advice to accountants, especially with Dean and Ron, around how they can factor in these unknown or regulations in some of the newer, what do they have to be mindful of that they don't trip up with old regulations fitting new business. It's a tricky one.
Look at regulatory environment across the world cannot keep up with technology or offering different business strategies. So this is we have seen an example. If you look at Uber's example, they face a lot of regulatory issues in Europe. Taxi guys and strike in regulatory issues, and they find some flaws. So this is, I think, this is very serious when you come to the financial services. The way I think I'm recommending I think that's where the sensitivity comes in. The data of the customer becomes very sensitive. How the financial transactions happen between two entities are very sensitive. The regulator is receptive to ideas, but how they adopt and publish policy, I think that is something which takes a lot of time. But there is a way around controversy today. If you look at today, all the fintech startups are basically working with some license holder in order to do and other banks as well. Rather than fighting the financial sector, banking, and insurance should be afraid of these startups and rising companies. I think this is collaboration opportunities is huge, where you can have existing regulatory environment, and then you can always go out to the up to the federal circle, and then you bring those people under the different umbrella, which are not right now in the public process.
Okay, We had a Chinese council member here over the last few days, and I was talking to her about some of the, the smartphone apps that they use in China. They don't have Google, they don't have Facebook, they don't have YouTube. They had an app she was using called Weibo. Now, a lot of the things that Weibo was very similar to WhatsApp, but it had, when she opened it up, it had an icon for financial services. Yeah? So, and I was wondering, does that mean that in the future, somehow WhatsApp could put another icon on their interface for us to start sort of transacting, in money, and can WhatsApp apply for banking license here and start that? Is that what potential is?
So I will take both the questions on that. And before that, I would want to clarify that usually we use FinTech and small startups interchangeably. This is a mistake that we often make. Like for instance, as we speak, UBank is in the process of converting all its core bank accounts into mobile wallets. I'm not collaborating with any third party, we're doing it in-house. So financial technologies will just, and the Tamil banking account is there as well. So first of all, this distinction needs to be drawn. So you could be a small startup offering FinTech and work on a balance sheet of a bank or business CG, or an entity to do it itself. So usually the example is that the larger commercial banks are like old fossils are not willing to change, that's why you need to have work with a smaller third party in this case. So coming to your next question, regarding the economists, the innovation in new areas, that regulate new to the environment, what we do. Talking about the Pakistani context, and as we also endorse, we have high respect for the central bank, because we're the only bank that launches banking for the world. So this credit we have to give to our banking regulator. Yes, they're involved, the regulations involved, and face change in their costs. The other thing is in the case of Uber or Careem, we have very clear tax laws and all, but it's human. When you start having somebody else's lunch, there is a limit. So I would not put all of it on regulation or lack of regulation or clarity. I'm sure these companies have been incorporated in Pakistan under the ordinance. So there is more to it than what the press says. Lastly, what you just mentioned here, the app that you mentioned, that app has a mobile wallet attached to it. So if you were to do it in Kenya, you would do it today. If you want to do it in Pakistan, you need to have a banking license. So banks like us or Tamil or say, or any bank are very well suited to do it on an app or mobile phone. And in fact, world already started.
Yes, please.
Not sure which one. So, okay, so quickly, two things there. I think your question was related to WhatsApp. Can WhatsApp get into?
Yes,
so I think this is already happening. You need to understand that three areas which are revolutionizing speech, image, and machine-to-machine communication. So, for example, I'm an 8-day bird, and my refrigerator wants UX. Doesn't mean my UX, they need to be replenished. I need to this or it doesn't UX. So it doesn't need my information as to do that. So exactly, so machine needs to know when to order those UX. And for machine to do that, you need a new type of financial model. And that model is going to be provided by smart contracts, from micropayments, from machine-to-machine communication. So this is where the internet of value and the internet of transactions separate themselves. Because we're not getting more into a world where machines are more autonomous. We need self-executing contracts, no intermediaries. We're talking about Google earlier on. I don't want to go there tomorrow. It's no disruptive disruptors. I want to go directly to that driver who's driving the car and get service from him. It's like I've got a spirit flashy in my car. I'm driving this car, then I can take 20 people to use it. And there are many ways of this shape economy to even disrupt the existing people who we consider as a support of the market.
There's no disruption in the supplies, strictly this machine to machine.
I think it's new normal, that's not everywhere. It's absolutely new normal. And anybody who makes a big deal out of it, I think we need to help them understand this.
So my last question is about this notion of big data. Every time we talk about technology, we also talk about big data as well. So big data is probably connected with also this concept of blockchain. Because blockchain, if I use an accountant's term, sort of continuous ledger, so you've got a ledger which has a lot of transactions pushed into it, and everybody can access it. So there's also security concerns around that. And there's lots of data in there which is being updated and modified all at the same time. So, so the connection between blockchain and big data is, as accountants, we're very accustomed to handling defined ledgers. So there's a cash ledger, an old ledger, very expensive how we know what's being posted in there. It gives us a sense of confidence that we can draw a line and that we can end up with a trial balance. We know exactly where the data originated from. We're in command of that data. But with big data, a lot of the information is generated by consumers. And there's a lot of emphasis now on accountants to manage their own big data. And it's becoming very cumbersome. So, John, within SA, a lot of data being generated on your consumers, on your buyers, your vendors, etc. How does the qualified accountant, professional accountant, do we own that big data, or does somebody else own it? Who owns it and who manages big data? Or does everybody?
Well, I can speak on what we manage out there, because obviously we have a lot of information about our distributors, our customers, in some of our consumers. We have a CRM model. And obviously we have to take the personal privacy. It's very important around big data. It's very important that we treat that with personal privacy that it deserves. And obviously we have the responsibility to ensure that we treat that with that respect. Obviously, it's ensuring that big data is used for the purposes upon which it's being acquired. It's not abused, and it doesn't get into, obviously, the hands that it's not intended to get into the hands. So, yes, we do have a corporate responsibility to ensure that we protect the data, that we use it for its purpose, and we, otherwise you lose the trust. You lose the trust on which you acquire and are going to use that data. I think this is a big part of the corporate responsibility that we need to take very seriously, and it will become a big part of our work. No longer will it be that companies have accounting systems that are contained within the general ledger and their payables and receivables and balance sheet. It will be more of a cloud computing world, access to data is out there, and I think this is a very big part of what we need to be protecting and ensuring it's used properly at corporate level.
Right. So the technology for especially where there are all sorts of fears around the custody of the data which is stored in clouds. Where's the stewardship? We love the stewardship. As soon as it's in a cloud, who are the stewards?
It's true. I think there's three questions I have to take 2 minutes. So let me tell you about data and the big data. Data is next oil. That's the next natural resources. People ask me question about Facebook and WhatsApp, it's free and Google. Most of this is the data we provide. We provide what we eat, what we sleep, what we buy, where we move, where we spend with our friends. All sort of the data information which they are collecting. That's where the oil comes in. That's data. The data is necessary resources. When the data will come from my name, my ID card, my date of birth, this is structured data. There's a lot of unstructured data. It's my voice, it's my fingerprint I put on my phone. Is that the steps I take every day because I'm from concept. There are a lot of unstructured data has whole set of these things become big data.
There's also, if I can just intervene, there's also the data now generated by a fridge. So I have fridge is in contact with another machine.
Absolutely.
So I don't know that. I don't know.
Oh, yes. Okay. Your thoughts are generating the data, your cell phone is generating the data about you. You are basically right now sitting here generating a lot of data points. These data points of the specific IoT, give an example of where the company is owned by IBM. So 1 billion points around the world to collect weather data. And that is really a huge data. So big data or big data set is basically the next opportunity for our accounting financial or accounting professions, how do we drive the value of that data? How we can do a new product line, more customized customer experience, and how you can add value in the profession become a disruptive context. And that's where the opportunity exists.
Very quickly,
data strategy not the new model because they have done very well in the oil. Secondly, I think marketers as they come up with terms which are absolutely linkage to the real world. So, for example, big data is first ever category made, identified, but data is just add on now with other resources like capital, labor, just start relating like that resource. And there's a nice article in HBR which says, please don't need data and all that. Because you are done environmentally well when it comes to data and this certification. Secondly, I think regulators
that means you're saying don't treat data as a commodity which you can buy and sell. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Exactly, that's part of it. The way we do it's just another resource in the process.
So I'm not going to that sitting on a lot of data.
Yeah.
They want to capitalize.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to capitalize on data. We need ROI on resources, we need ROI on capital required. Similarly, we can monetize data. And there are established strategies available out there, which one can.
Sorry. See, the blockchain being access.
No, that's what I'm explaining to you guys. The blockchain is a technology everybody is discussing and talking about. The majority, I think, they don't know what blockchain is. The blockchain is going to move the business for internet data to business. If I were to say there's a jet application in 1999 named as ICQ, which people never seen on the value, and never heard a jet application was sold for $19 billion. And the Chinese application we just talked about is valued at $10 billion. Reason is they have providing the users, they have the data, data is not sold, data is described in the value of it. Blockchain is a shared ledger with the rules defined, who can see what and who can do what with that data. And the data, since the ledger is distributed among more than one, more than two, or more than three ledgers, and since data is immutable and not reverse, every time the authenticity of the data is check the complete cycle and see the whole data is, the whole ledger is synchronized with the same record. That's what the blockchain. Right. Blockchain is going to do what internet has done in business.
So there are sufficient checks and balances.
That's the beauty of the blockchain.
So I'm sorry to we're really over time, so I'm going to ask the last to come back and say, can I have appreciation for the panel? I know questions, if I can ask the audience to keep your questions for over lunch where you can network with the panel. Are you willing to do that? Thank you so much. And I know we've got some questions online, and we'll take those as well. So just an online question, and back over to Mark. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would now like to invite Mr. Giovanni, CFO, ACA Pakistan, along with Mr. Faisal, the Dean Head of Education North, to come to the stage and present a token of appreciation for our conversation leaders. Dr. Mohammed Amjad Saqib, Executive Director of Kuwait. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand. Thank you, Mr. Amjad. Founder and Chief Scientist, Percentile UK. Mr. Ali Sarfraz Hussain, CEO, Caranas. Mr. John Davis, Head of Finance and Control, Nestle Pakistan. Mr. Nadeem Malik, Cloud Leader, Pakistan IBM. Ladies and gentlemen, ACA has the honor of producing some of the smartest finance professionals in Pakistan who have proven to be great assets for the organization they work for. Mr. Kabir Naqvi, we are immensely proud of the role that he has played in delivering public value and also adhering to the core values of ACCA. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand, Mr. Kabir Naqvi. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our panelists, and I will also request them for a group photograph. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. What great insights and such high-octane discussions and conversations today. On behalf of ACCA Pakistan, I would like to thank all our panelists for being with us. I will now request Mr. Sajid Aslam to conclude the two sessions with a closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sajid.
Thank you very much, and I'm quite aware of that. It's a short time. First, I would like to thank all the participants that actually listen to that conversation, but that's not the purpose. Listening is not the purpose that we are here to live. It has to convert into an action and a thought process. We have taken a lot of notes from the conversation which was taking place here. We have figured out some of the action items we will be sharing back with our panelists, our conversation leader, and the industry as well. So what we are looking forward, that this conversation and the vision which is shared here and the perspective which were discussed, that can be converted into action. Definitely, whether we are talking about FinTech or we are talking about the value and leadership we carry for the 21st
century. So we should be looking at how we can make it as an extra layer item. ACC is very proud of its research, and that research is basically bringing a base for the thought leadership globally as well as in Pakistan for our professional accountant, ACCA, our team, as well as for the industry. So I think we will believe in that, we will keep believing in that thought leadership, and we will keep carrying out these type of conversation in a small sessions or in sessions like this one. And I believe that we can collectively create an opportunity for growth for Pakistan, and that is my opportunity, and that is your opportunity. Thank you very much, and thank you very much.
I would once again like to show our immense gratitude to our key partners and would request our sponsors from the hall to join us on stage to receive a small token of appreciation from our side. I would request Mr. Shahid to please join us, who is Senior Manager for Business Development based in the hall. So Mr. Nadeem Malik Aliyan Khan, please. Please join us on stage. Sarah Khan, Head of Education, EXD. Mr. Mumtaz Hassan Zaidi, Senior Manager Sales and Marketing in Maha. Mr. Fawad is Head of Market Research and Customer Experience, Fintech. Rehan Ahmed, Financial Controller, ExxonMobil. Kumel Hussain, Head of Linkages, ABN. Mr. Salman Mother, Head of Marketing, Wakil. Thank you to all our participants who have joined us today here and online. Thank you to all our conversation leaders and partners. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite you to lunch. It is an ideal opportunity for you to interact with today's guests in network. See you again next year at Pakistan Leadership Conversation 2018. God bless you and Khuda Hafiz.